This is a video about how a court-martial works. My name's James Phillips. I'm a military lawyer. I've been doing court-martials for years now, and I have hundreds of them under my belt. I'm going to try to walk you through the process right now. Usually some event begins the investigation process. As a service member, you have the right to remain silent and you have the right to a lawyer. These are constitutional rights. You need to use them. This will help your attorney win the case later. Investigations can take a long time depending on the investigative body. Sometimes an investigation may only last a couple months. Sometimes they can last a couple years. You have to be patient during this phase of the trial. If you've done something where the command feels like they can order you into pretrial confinement, you have the right to a hearing. The standard at the hearing is, can you show up to trial and are you going to commit more crimes? If either one of those are met, the command can keep you in jail. After the investigation, there's the referral of charges, where they bring you in, read you the charges, and generally will send you to Trial Defense Services or an Area Defense Counsel after that with your discovery packet, which is all the documents involved in your case. After that, if it's a general court-martial, they will schedule you for an Article 32 hearing. It's generally a limited hearing, not a lot of evidence is presented. It's a probable cause hearing. Sexual assault Article 32s have become more disappointing. Basically, the alleged victim doesn't usually testify. There's a JAG that's the investigating officer. I tend to waive them these days. I don't find them to be very useful. The next step is called referral. It goes up to the General Court-Martial Convening Authority or the General, and he makes it and approves it and sends it on to the military judge, or he can dismiss the case at that time or do some alternate disposition. After that, you go to an arraignment. Generally, you'll reserve your pleas and forums, but this is your time that you're formally in front of the court, and most of the time you'll get a pretrial order that gives you all the deadlines for motions and trial dates. Pleading guilty in the military is different than in the civilian world. You have to be provident, or you have to knowingly plead guilty. You also have to do a stipulation of fact, which is generally written by the government, but in exchange you're going to get some kind of limitation on sentence. Depending on your case, there may be a variety of motions which are filed and then will be heard at what's called an Article 39A session. At some point during the trial, you will have an 802 session. You won't be there as the accused, but judges, attorneys, and any other interested parties such as Special Victims Counsel will be back there. This is a discussion of the case and usually involves procedural aspects of the case. In the military, production of witnesses is done through the government. The defense requests through the government for the government to produce a witness. The issue with that is generally you have to tell them what they're going to testify to, and this can open the defense to giving away their defense prior to trial. One of the nice things about a military case is any expert witness that is needed is generally going to be approved and will be paid for by the government. Sometimes before trial, you may want to pick judge alone. There are certain kind of cases that work better in front of a judge. Also, sometimes you want to control sentencing where you know the way a judge sentences. You can also do what's called a slow roll guilty plea, where you know you're guilty but you can't work out a deal, and a judge may be best in a case like this. Panels are the same as a jury. You have the right to a 1/3 enlisted panel, or you also have the right to an officer panel if you're enlisted. If you're an officer, obviously it's just an officer panel. Trial looks like TV. You initially pick a jury, then you do opening statements. Both the government and the defense present their case. Then you do closing arguments, and then the jury will come back, or the military judge will come back with a verdict. One of the things I don't like about the military system is the pre-sentencing part. If you're found guilty of any offenses, you immediately after the verdict will go into a pre-sentencing phase where you present, witnesses, documents. The government can also present their evidence in aggravation. Defenses presenting their evidence in mitigation. After the trial, you've got one more bite at the apple. You can basically go to the general or the general court martial convening authority, and you can ask for clemency or for a lowering of the sentence. In sexual assaults, there's just not much clemency left with the new changes in the law. Finally, in the military, if certain conditions are met, you have an automatic right to appeal. Thank you for listening to this video today. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can text me at the phone number below, or you can give me an email at jphillipslaw22@gmail.com.